All right, so here are the three levels of human awareness. So when you're going through your awareness journey, when you're going through your spiritual journey, these are the levels that you're going to experience. So let's jump right in. Number one, the base level, human level one, is what I call NPC mode, right? NPC mode is when you're not yet awake. Think about how a river just runs through the forest, right? It just does its own thing. A flower just grows. The universe just universes. In the same way, we have a lot of people on this earth that are just doing the thing, and they're not robots because they're real humans, but they are NPC. So an NPC is a non-player character. What that means is you've played the video games where there's a guy in the general store just walking around because code told him to do it, and he just walks around, and then when you beat the game, you never see him again because he's gone. So in the same way, there's no thought there, there's no creativity, it's just doing the things, right? Now, there's a lot of people that are in this state, and I'm not trying to be mean with this. I am just this is an objective thing. This is how it is. This is how everybody's spiritual path goes. We start not awake. Everybody starts not awake, right? So a lot of people get mad about it. Oh, NPC, they're just getting triggered for no reason. So NPC mode. What are some characteristics of NPC mode? Number one, I'm just going to call them the person at level one. So the person at level one identifies with thoughts and impulses. This means that they've never heard the term that you're not your thoughts. They have never even questioned it. They've never heard of it. They just assume that them doing them is them, right? An awareness isn't there yet. So they just identify with thoughts and impulses. So they have a thought that says, I suck, and they think they suck. So they don't realize, oh wait, this is just a thought that says I suck. But that doesn't mean, just because the thought says I suck doesn't mean I suck. It's just a thought, right? There's a separation there, but they don't see the separation yet. The level one person still believes anxiety, depression is forever instead of situational. They believe that anxiety, depression is something that they're struck with and something that they're stuck with instead of an irregular thought pattern that they can get out of. The level one person doesn't understand that because they don't understand that their thoughts aren't them, right? They think anxiety, depression is something that is a fucking medical condition. They don't understand it's just an error in thought. It's just uncontrolled thoughts, okay? Now, level one people also take negative thoughts personally, like I just said. So when they see I suck, they attach it to their identity. When their brain thinks, oh, I'm an idiot, they attach it to their identity. They don't realize that this is not them because they are not their thoughts, okay? They cannot see their thoughts, so they are unconscious. So they say things without thinking about it. They do things without thinking about it. They're never strategic about anything. They just impulse hits them when they go, right? They just feel it and they say it. They just do it and they hit it, right? They're super impulsive. And level one people cannot follow their own thoughts for more than 5 to 10 seconds. So if a unique, independent, creative thought even hits them, they can't hold it in their brain long enough to act on it. Okay? And again, I'm not trying to roast these people. This is how it fucking works. This is the three levels of human awareness. And we all started there. I started there. Everybody starts there. A baby is aware at a level one mode, right? You have to awaken at some point. So think about level one. Your thoughts are just going. You don't even know they're happening because you're just living the life. You're just in it. Oh my God, this is crazy. Every time you have a bad thought, you take it personally. That's a level one. Level two people are awakened, okay? When you're awakened, you pop out of autopilot and you can see your thoughts and become aware of them for the first time. You might even have, some crazy spiritual experience that does this for you, or you might learn it through a teacher, okay? I learned it through it. So my own experience, I had a year that was very emotionally traumatic for me, and I couldn't figure out how to get out of the pain, and I had all this anxiety, and I was having all these panic attacks, and I'm like, how the fuck do I get out of this? How the fuck do I stop the pain here? And then I went on my own journey, and then I found the answers, and I was like, oh, it's my own thoughts, right? So I realized that I was not my thoughts, and this is when you awaken, when you create this separation between you and your thoughts. So basically at this level, you're like in a movie theater, and you're sitting back on the chair reclining, and then your thoughts are going in front of you on the screen. I suck. I'm an idiot. I can't do this. I can't do that. Or they're positive. Oh my God, I'm amazing. I'm blah, blah, right? Both of them, it doesn't matter which way, in the positive or negative, those are not you. You are the observer of your thoughts, right? What you call yourself is the observer of your thoughts. And we can get deep here, right? You think, let's say your name is Grant as well. Well, you think your name is Grant. You didn't choose your name. Your parents gave it to you. That's not yours, right? Even your arm isn't yours, right? Because you have an arm. You are not your arm. You have one. So the you that you are is behind everything. The you that you are is looking at everything through awareness, okay? So not to get a little Buddhist on you, but that's the facts. So at this level, you can see and become aware of thoughts. So then instead of you saying, oh, I suck, oh, I do suck, you hear your brain say, oh, I suck, and you go, oh my God, that thought sucks. Wow, that was a negative thought. That was kind of a freaky thought. Wow, but you detach there. You're not taking it personally. So your thoughts are going and going and going, but there's a little gap now because you're like, oh, I can put a dam in the river. Interesting, right? Now, level 2, your base state is still autopilot. So usually you're an autopilot, but you'll get glimpses of clarity. So you're an autopilot, but then you can have an independent thought. And you're like, oh, I can think of stuff now, right? Because you're getting a little more space. You need enough space to have an independent thought. So at level 1, you don't have any space for independent thought. There's nowhere to plug in your own stuff because you're just running on autopilot. Level 2 awakened, you can get a little glimpse now. So you can be like, oh, and then you'll get a little thought of independent thought and clarity, and then it goes back away and goes back to autopilot. And you're like, I saw it though. I saw it and I felt it. So this stage, again, your base is still autopilot, but you'll get glimpses of clarity. You'll get glimpses of higher level thinking. And this is when you detach from thoughts. So you understand, I am not my thoughts. They're like cars passing by, right? So, thoughts are literal physical things that we experience. And guess what? So are cars. So how dumb would it be if after every car drove by you, you chased it? That would be dumb. So in the same way, you don't have to chase every thought that goes in front of your face. You can be like, nah, not going to entertain it. And so when that car or that thought drives by and you're like, you know what, not right now, that's letting go. That's letting the thought go. You're just like, nope, not going to do that today, right? Number 2, awakened. You get glimpses of the core roots of your anxiety and depression. You start being able to see, oh, this is a thought issue. This isn't a hormone issue. This isn't a medical condition that I'm stuck with forever. This is because of my mind. And that becomes extremely freeing because when you start awakening, you start seeing how your own brain operates. You start realizing that everything that you've been told in society is a fucking lie. Everything that you've been told is a lie. And you start unpeeling these things one at a time. You're like, oh, that was all a lie. Okay, let me figure out how to fix it now. And then you get some original thoughts. So you're like, oh my gosh, if my emotions are just because of my thoughts, right? Well, then maybe if I fix my thoughts, I will have better emotions. Wow, right? And then you start paying attention. And then when you start paying attention, your natural pattern recognition system kick in, and then you start getting all this knowledge that a lot of people don't have because you're becoming aware. But you see that you are the cure for your anxiety and depression. It isn't a pill. It isn't a life situation, right? It's your mind. Control your mind and you control your anxiety and depression, okay? You start catching your bad thoughts and you either let them go or you replace them with positive, right? So you're doing something and you hear, let's say you're talking to a girl and let's say you're at a fucking, you're at a coffee shop and there's a cute girl looking at you and the cute girl's smiling, you're getting good signals, but then you hear your mind go, oh, you shouldn't talk to her, you're a fucking idiot, right? That happens to you and you're like, wait a second, my brain's going negative. No, I'm actually really cool. And then you go talk to the girl, right? So you can interject in these patterns. You can get a little glimpse here. So the river of thought, the circle of thought is and you're like, nope, you can interject. So you can replace it with positive. And lastly, you can follow your own thought for 1 to 2 minutes. So you can start thinking independently. You can start thinking originally because now you have enough space to think. Beforehand, there was nowhere to go. You were drowning under a river. Like you were drowning and you have no room for your own thoughts. But then when you are awake, you can stick your head out up above it for a little bit and get some air. But then you're not strong enough to stay forever. And then you sink back down into autopilot, right? But you can go up again for air, right? But then you go back down. So you can have your own thoughts for a little bit and you go back down. But the thing is, you need enough space to fix yourself. So you need to be able to hold your head above water. You need to be able to hold yourself in awareness long enough. Again, it's a muscle. You're training a muscle here. And you train it through meditation. If you want to watch meditation, go to my other video. I'll show you how to actually do it. That's how you train the skill. But the point is, at level 2, now your head is above water, but you can't hold yourself up long enough, okay? So your base state is still down here under the water, but you're like, wait a second. I can actually pop my head out above the ocean? That's crazy. So you do it, and you realize it's amazing, but then you can't swim good enough yet, so then you fall back underneath, right? And then you have level 3. Level 3 is when you're a clear thinker. Level 3 is when you carve out a path in all these crazy thoughts, and you can start thinking, strategizing, and all your higher cognition mechanisms kick in because you can create enough space to think. So your default state in level 3 becomes awareness. So in this level, your head's above water all the time. You walk around life with your head above water, and then stuff happens. Like you get stressed here, you get stressed there, you get stressed here, and then it pulls you back under the water, and you're like, this is annoying. And you get it all away, and now you're back under the water. Now you're back above the water, right? So whereas level 2, you're still stuck underneath the water, and you can pop your head up and breathe every now and then. In level 3, your default state is above the water. And then anytime anything comes up, you're either meditating or deflecting the bad thoughts 24/7. And that's basically staying above water. So you live like this, and you can see, and you can think for yourself, and everything's amazing. Then you get stressed here. Someone said this about you, and it pissed you off. Someone said this, and it pissed you off. And you feel yourself getting pulled back under the water, and you're like, I feel the weight now. I feel the weight now. And you're like, I don't like being over here. So then you shed it, you shed it, you shed it, you shed it, and then you get back to above water, and you're like, I'm good. And that's what meditation is. Meditation is getting back above the water, okay? Now, at this level, you're very in tune with positive and negative energy, and you choose to block out all negativity. So level 1, you're like, I suck, which is negative. You attach it to yourself. Level 2, you're like, I suck, and you kind of see it, but you kind of kick it away. Level 3, any type of negativity, energetically, emotionally, financially, spiritually, any negative energy, you basically have a shield and a sword, and your whole life is perpetually dodging negative energy, right? And that's kind of like keeping your head above the water. So under the water is all the default autopilot stuff that we don't want, right? So you're basically fighting all the time. Buddhists call it wiping a mirror. So imagine a super clear mirror, okay? And then some dust gets on it because it was sitting there. Well, if you don't want a dirty mirror, you got to wipe it every day. Wiping it is meditation. But here's the crazy part. When you got your mirror, it was super dirty and it had all the dirt over it, right? So you had to freaking peel it away and crust it away and do this, and you're like, there's a mirror under here. It was just a chunk of dirt, and you're like hitting the chunk of dirt. You're like, okay, this is crazy. You're like, oh my God, I can see a mirror, right? And then you start scraping it and washing it, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's a mirror under here, but it's super dirty, and I can't fix it. And then you get to level 3, and you're like, oh my God, I have a clear mirror finally, and I can see the clear mirror, and anytime dust comes onto it, you're like, dust, wipe it away right away. So your base state is clarity, okay? And in this state, you can follow your train of thought for hours. You can think for hours. You can focus for hours because you know how to stay above the water. You know how to sit in awareness, and when the stuff comes in that's clouding your judgment and clouding your vision, you can say, nope, you can shed that shit away, and then you can live a clear life. So the goal for everybody should be to get to level 3. I can think of no more amazing compliment than you are a clear thinker. That is a fantastic compliment to get, okay? Now, can anybody go through this process? Yes, anybody can go through this process. The question is, how do you level up? You have to meditate. I have a video on my channel on how to meditate. What meditation is going to do is you're going to develop your sight, okay? Now, you take for granted all the sight that you have right now. For example, let's say you're a guy and you love watching football, right? You watch football games, it's not even a big deal because you watch football. But then you talk to a new girl, she watches football with you, and she's like, I can't even see where the football goes. I don't even know where the football is. I can't even follow football, right? Why? It's because she can't see what you see. You've developed your sight to see where the football is to a crazy degree. Because she's never witnessed this, she doesn't even know what she's looking at. She can't see the football because she hasn't developed the sight in that particular area. In the same way, if you're a guy, right, you might know the difference between a Challenger, a Mustang, and a Camaro, right? You know the difference on different cars or different models, and you can see these things. But then you meet girls, and they call your car different names because they can't see the difference. They've never studied it before, right? So in a lot of different facets of life, you have sight. For example, if you're a woman, you might be good at interior design or makeup, or you might be creative in some way, and then you try to have a guy do something, and he's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even see it. It's the same exact thing. So in life, we develop our sight in certain specific areas because reality is more complex than we can ever fathom. So we think that even the stuff that we see in reality, we think, oh, I see this and I can label it. It's not that. It's more complicated than that. Because the easiest way to think about this is the football game one, right? You as a guy, you can see the football and you can name all the players and you can see all the pieces moving. The girl cannot do that. She can't see it literally because you've developed your sight. So in the same way, meditation is developing the sight for your own thoughts. you're going to be able to see your own thoughts better than anybody else around you. And the more that you can see your own thoughts and go deeper in your own mind, the more you can explore the external reality around you, because as above, so below. So if your internal reflection mechanism is super strong, you're going to be able to study reality to a crazy degree. That's why all the smartest people in the world, when it comes to people, know themselves a crazy amount, because the more they know themselves, the more they know other people, because human experience is the same, right? So all the anxious people and the depressed people, I have all those same thoughts that they have. I just ignore them, right? They're not special because they have them. I used to have them. I used to have full day panic attacks. But back when I was having those thoughts, number one, I couldn't control my thoughts. But number two, I just listened to the thoughts, right? So meditation is becoming aware of what you're thinking, and it's being able to interject in the process. So at first it's a little like just a dam in the river, and then it becomes a gorge, right? And then you actually create a huge separation in your crazy thoughts, and you start being able to do original thoughts, think independently. It gets amazing. So these are the 3 stages of awareness. Hope it helped you. Deuces.